Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. So I'm going to spare you the Gilbert Godfrey impression today. Got my sunglasses, so I came prepared. Go figure. I wanted to talk a bit today about luck and survival, because as preppers we seem to aspire to control all the variables. I made a video a long time ago called Fear and Control. I postulated in that video that preppers were to some degree control freaks, that we didn't like uncertainty and unpredictability, and that we tried to control all of the variables in a situation, in a disaster situation, and just in life in general. We don't like surprises. Now, I wanted to make a video about luck for some time, but I didn't know which angle I should approach it from. Today, I think it was today, actually it was yesterday, I was driving down the highway and just in the wrong place in the space-time continuum at the wrong time. There was a truck in front of me. There must have been some rocks stuck in his tread, and he flung my way and it cracked my windshield. And it just got me thinking, about chance and randomness and just the nature of life in general, in that it's so unpredictable that there's some things you just cannot control, and it really is all about inches. And I'm not going to recite the Al Pacino Any Given Sunday speech where he's talking about life is a game of inches. That's a very good speech, but the idea that if I just, because I was thinking about it, I was going to take a different route home that day. And of course, this is going to now cost me, if I want to fix it, probably $500 to fix the windshield. It's not, it's nothing that needs to be fixed right away. But the fact is, it sucks. And I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. There was no karmic aspect to it. I wasn't being proud. I wasn't being belligerent in any way. I wasn't, asking for it, so to speak. I was just in that one right place. This guy wasn't flinging rocks off left and right. There was no, it was a clean truck, so it's just like, if you're in that one wrong spot at the wrong time, you simply can't control the way things are going to go. And I think there comes a point in our preparedness strategy where we have to accept that at some point we're going to have to take some chances, that we cannot control everything. And such is the essence of life, the not knowing what's going to happen. Knowing the future and being able to predict the future and being able to control all the variables in the equation is a very godlike characteristic. Do preppers want to be gods? I don't know. Is there an element of being too controlling with preparedness? I think so. I think that it's healthy and sensible to attempt to minimize those extraneous variables that might otherwise make our lives too complicated. But it can get to a point of obsessiveness where you're no longer living life, and life is about risks. There was a quote by the guy who played Herschel in The Walking Dead, and he's talking about how, at any moment you could just die just like that everything involves an aspect of risk. It's about what are you going to risk your life for. It's not about getting out of here alive. It's not about surviving indefinitely. Sooner or later, the universe is going to get you. Are you going to accept that you cannot control everything? And are you going to continue to live life? Because of course, the only way to advance in life and to progress is to take risks. And you could be the most prepared person in the world for every possible contingency, but you just happen to be where the bombs get dropped, or you just happen to be, where the active shooting scenario takes place, and it was before you could do anything about it. Maybe your house burns down by an electrical fire. There's so many unpredictable aspects to this game that we call life that it's impossible to try to think that you can control every aspect of it. So it more so becomes a question then of how fast can you adapt to changing circumstances, as opposed to how can you prepare for everything as it currently is, and how can you effectively deal and follow protocol. That's one aspect, yes. How effectively you can proactively plan things out is an aspect of preparedness. But I think the more important factor in your survivability is going to be flexibility and adaptability. I'm going to tell you a little story about a period in my life when actually this one time many years ago, when I was in my early 20s, I had made a bunch of money tree planting in I think I was in Alberta at the time, and I went to this used car dealership. I always wanted a Jeep, so I went and bought myself a Jeep. I grew up in a very poor environment. I'll tell you my whole story one of these days. But so I wanted a Jeep really bad, so I went and I bought this lemon, total lemon. I spent, I'm not sure how, I think it was only like $2,500 or something like that. But it was a lot of money for me at the time. Still is a lot of money for me, obviously. But so I drove this thing out to Ontario, and I was driving down the highway and the transmission fell out. Within a month, not even a month, probably like 2 weeks of driving it, I'd only put maybe 1,000 kilometers on it, and the transmission fell out on the highway. I was broke, I was jobless, I was looking for work. That's why I was traveling across the country, because I had just finished university. So I had a lot of debt, I didn't have a job. I have my degree in a field where there's not a lot of job security, and you're not guaranteed to find a job right away. So I was just down on my luck. I had a broken dud Jeep, which the transmission was screwed, so it was gonna cost me half of what it cost to buy the vehicle to fix it. So anyways, I was down on my luck, staying in this bug-infested motel, and I was paying every night. I was running lower and lower on cash because I had nothing to do. I didn't know what to do. You know, I was aimless in life. I was coming from a place where I had a lot of friends, and they had all gone their separate ways. And for the first time in my life, I really did feel alone. I had nothing. And I started calling around town, and I found this traveler's hostel. This is in a city called Thunder Bay, Ontario. So I phoned them up, and I explained my situation. You know, they don't like taking locals or people who are just seeking, you know, residency, who are homeless. So I explained to her my situation, that you know, I was in the process of getting my vehicle fixed, and I was applying for, you know, employment insurance at the time, so that would take 6 weeks, and I didn't really have a lot of money at the time. And so I was explaining all this to her, and she's like, yeah, well, you know, come down and visit me. And so I did, and I ended up staying there for a few weeks. I had nothing, remember. So what I had to do was I bought a cheap bike for $10, and I just went and did all these odd jobs around town. Very humbling work, you know, like I'd help a guy lay bricks, you know, just odd jobs, cutting grass, stuff like that, painting. You know, nothing profound, nothing that utilized the thousands of dollars worth of education I just had. I just wasn't mentally ready to jump into that role just yet, nor was an opportunity presenting itself where I was. So it was a tough life, but you know what? Staying at that traveler's hostel, I met a lot of cool people, and it turned out to be one of the best times of my life. I just met people from all over the world, you know, people who were from Europe traveling, just people from all over the place, you know. It was just a great life, and this is before I met my wife, obviously. I ended up, and I'm talking like I had nothing. Like I had maybe a few pairs of clothes. I was dirty all the time. Obviously I tried to, personal hygiene, but you can only do so much when you have 2 pairs of clothes. But I met this girl who is probably the most beautiful woman I had ever been with before my current wife. And it's just amazing how when you're that down on your luck, when you are that humble to the state of the world, and that you're that open to the possibilities and just the things that can start to happen for you at that time. And so eventually, I just to conclude that story, eventually things did work out. I managed to save enough money, got the Jeep fixed, got out of Dodge, and I came to where I am today. And so this crack in the windshield, I can only wonder, what is this going to bring me to? What is the upswing of this? What is the silver lining? Because I really do believe now that you can't have the inhale without the exhale. You can't have the breath of fresh air without breathing out the bad air. And so I guess the moral of the story is, if you try to control everything, for one, it's going to be impossible. And if things don't work out for you right from the start, just remember that the universe has a funny way of following up with those really crappy times in life with just amazing experiences. So I would encourage you, if you're having a rough time in life right now, don't despair too much. Well, despair if you need to, but you might be in the right place that you're supposed to be. I might go and get this window fixed, for instance, and because I'm at that place in time, it might take me off to some other parallel universal possibilities. You just never know what sort of butterfly effect is going to happen, even if something really bad happens. Yeah, it's going to cost me $500, but where's it going to take me 5 years from now? What if that window never got cracked? What if I never meet the people that I'm going to meet because I broke this windshield? Life is beautifully mysterious, and there's something about relinquishing control, which is a very empowering state of mind. So I guess the moral of the story here is that not all tragedy is tragic, that if your life is chaotic, order is on the horizon. Embrace the pain. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.